Okay, hi. Welcome to Selectmen's Roundtable. And if you're a regular viewer of Selectmen's Roundtable, you're probably saying yes, because you've been watching the summer Selectmen's Roundtable for months now. So we finally have been able to get it together and at least get 3 selectmen here and our special guest, Ellen Dolan, for this roundtable session. So I'm joined by John LeBeau and Mo DiPaolo. And you may be able to tell, or you may not, that we are in the library building. Very exciting. And so we are going to talk about, give people an update about the renovation and addition work that is going on. But first, I'd throw it to my colleagues. Is there anything in particular that we might want to mention to folks, since it's been a while since we've actually been on the roundtable, an update as to what's going on? Or
nothing in particular.
Well, other than, here we are, it's February, so that means we're into the budget.
Yep.
We've had our 2 all Saturday sessions of budget hearings with the Finance Committee, the various departments. Initial budget was released by the manager, and all the departments made their presentations. Now we'll go into a little bit of period of refinement of the budget and some quiet time before it heats up again in another month or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a process. The Finance Committee had a couple of Saturday hearings, and you participated as a library, the first Saturday. Yep, It's always interesting. So, as John said, it's a work in progress, and so we'll keep you posted and keep you informed. But you can always go to the town website or call the town selectman's office, town manager's office, if you'd like more information about what's happening with the budget.
And we have a copy of the budget over at the library on the reference desk, too.
Awesome. That's right. And that is the temporary library.
That's right. Temporary
located
library.
over at the former Glavin property on Lake Street.
Right.
And
That's
so,
right.
To clarify, we are in the
609 Main Street
609
side.
Main, yes. So we don't want to say the old. It's sort of the old new.
The old new library. The renovated and expanded library.
Exactly. So we were lucky enough to just get a tour of the building, and I also serve on the library building committee, so that has been an incredible process from my perspective, just seeing this come to fruition from paper to where it is. And every month when we sort of walk through, it's amazing how quickly they are able to accomplish sort of the next phase of what they're doing.
Right.
So maybe just give us a brief update for what's going on.
Well, I think you're right. The level of progress is pretty remarkable. We're at about 75% complete construction. The construction crew is targeted for a May 31st substantial completion. But what that doesn't mean that the whole project is finished. It means that the building is essentially mainly completed. After that, what will take place is kind of the punch list, all of the technology installation, the furnishings, the shelving delivery and installation, and finally the move back to the library. That's scheduled to take place. Right now we're looking at the last few weeks in August. So we're targeted to open very early September of this year. And things are going along very well. We're really pleased with the quality of the work. We have a fantastic construction manager, or what most people would think of as a general contractor, Fontaine Brothers out of the Springfield area. And our architect is Lamarone Pagano, many are familiar with from Sherwood Middle School, Hanover Theater, other great projects in the area. We also have an exceptional project management firm, PMA Consulting, who is serving as our owner's representative for the town and is doing a marvelous job of managing budget, managing oversight of the project, and so forth. So we're very pleased with where we are today.
Which is on schedule, under budget.
That's right. On schedule. Those are important words.
Most important words. On schedule, under budget, which is awesome. Really is. And I think we this evening will have a library building committee meeting, so we'll get an update. But if I'm correct, from the last meeting, we were about 66%.
Well, today we were at that meeting just under 70% completed.
Okay, right. Yes,
and we're running about. I asked today before a tour.
Okay,
we're about 75% complete.
Awesome.
And we're still with very healthy contingency budgets that will allow us to eventually return funds to the community.
That's awesome.
Very proud of.
There shouldn't be many surprises at this stage in the game.
Right.
We're starting to see the finishing put on, ceilings and that.
Right.
We were up on It's the third floor
We're
right
on
now.
what's considered the second floor.
Second floor.
Mhm.
The adult floor.
Mainly adult services up
And
here.
this is, I mean, put the drop ceiling in and put the floor down. This is pretty much done.
Right.
It's really amazing. They didn't expect to see this much done.
Right.
But I guess if they're going to finish in May, it would be. But
Right. About 3 weeks ago,
Impressive.
when we walked here, they were just putting up the wallboard.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to see the painting start to happen so quickly and cut some of the wood trim.
Yeah.
I know they're tiling in the restrooms on all 3 floors. Two of the restrooms are completely done. Some of the millwork of the pre-built desks, service desks, such as a reference desk on this floor, are already starting to go in. I know that they have that work taking place at their shop to install here. We know that the restoration of the stained glass window is complete, that when construction is done, that will be one of the last things to take place. They'll be putting that back in place, as well as the leaded window on that first floor of the 1903 building. That will all be put back in place. That is all looking beautiful. All the telecom is getting ready to be finished. We know that we're going to have our permanent power installed later this week. So we've been working on temporary power all along. It's just an amazing amount of progress.
It is.
The design, I mean, we see a very, very open design.
Right.
Feels like a whole lot more space than it probably all calculates out to. The main corridor, why don't you tell us a little about that?
I think one of the most effective features of the design is that there are very good lines of sight when you enter into the main floor, when you come up on the top floor or the lower level. When you get into the center of the building, you can virtually see from one side to the other. And the service desks are situated on each floor so that staff members can easily see and monitor what's going on. But also, when the public walks into the building, they can easily orient themselves. Where am I? Where do I need to go? That kind of thing. And so we were a 25,000 square foot building, and we are now going to be a 38,600 square foot building. So 11,400 square feet added, a 43% addition. So it feels tremendously big in here, but I think a lot of that is the design that said, let's make sure there's lots of open space, line of sight is good, and beautiful windows that bring in lots of light.
Yeah, yeah, and it's an example of how when you design for efficiencies and effectiveness and using space in a more efficient manner, right? What you can do with space and building. Whereas the older library just sort of it really wasn't. What we ended up with wasn't all by design. Let's put it that way. It's sort of
It
more
felt very segmented.
Segmented, exactly, and so it kind of gave that feel of less space.
One of the questions I get asked a lot about is, well, you must be getting loads of new staff to manage this larger building, and this building was designed to be managed with the staff we have. And that predominantly is done through that smart design of being able to serve a large visual area with minimal staffing, but also a lot of new technology. So we're switching, while we're over at the temporary site, we're converting all of our materials from barcode to RFID, or radio frequency tags, so that when we come back here, we can make use of a new automated handling system. We were loaning about 500,000 items a year before we moved out of here, and we know that volume will go up once we're back here. Every time a book goes out, it has to get handled multiple times. So previously when an item was returned, a staff member would pick it up, wand the barcode in, and then decide which book card it went on to be sorted. So one portion of those 500,000 transactions will now be done as the patron returns the item, actually puts it through the slot. It will automatically check it in and sort it to a bin for where it's eventually going to be going. Children's fiction, adult fiction, media, and so forth. And also we'll be deploying a lot more self-check machines. Now we have 3 in the temporary library, and they're very popular. We'll be adding 5 more, and they'll be situated throughout the building. So there'll be a few in the children's room, so parents can check out right where their kids are and not have to have them standing there waiting while they're checking out. There'll be one in the teen room, and there'll be at the circulation desk, there will be a station so staff can still help patrons. If they want us to check out the materials, we can still do that, but there'll be 3 self-check stations right there so that the patrons can be assisted if they need any help with that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's a concept everybody is familiar with
Right.
now, grocery stores, whatever.
That's right.
We're all used to, doing
Yeah.
that, so I would think that'd be a smooth transition.
We find patrons prefer it when we had a situation where our self-checks were down when we first moved over to the temporary site. We had a lot of complaints from patrons that they had to come to us to check out their books, which when we started it, we thought
Yeah.
it would be a hardship, but it isn't at all.
Yeah.
So we're up here on the second floor in the adult nonfiction area.
Right.
The building, a lot of glass
Lot of
all around, but certainly south-facing glass. You mentioned that most of the patron areas, the customer areas, will have the full benefit of the light. We're going to keep the work areas to the back of the
Back
building.
the north side.
So could you lay out the building a little bit
Sure.
by sections and what you do in the various parts?
So an easy way to think of the building without actually looking at a design or so forth is it's designed on a T. So you have that original 1903 building, and then the addition to the rear is set up so that the access or core of the 1903 building sets the main line north to south for the entrance. So the entrance will be at the far back north side, and when you come in, you immediately look through all the way to the 1903 building. When you get about halfway in, if you look to the left or the right, you see the additions on either side. And on the first floor, it is all of the popular materials, the holds that people want to pick up and get in and get out, the fiction and adult fiction and movies, mainly the popular materials. There'll be some study tables down the core there. On the other side, facing more towards the common, the front of the building, the south side will be the teen room, which will be really lovely space design, so there's space for socialization, but space for also kind of study and workspace. And the young adult librarian's office will be situated right in the midst of that. On the other side, kind of facing to the back parking lot, will be the community meeting room, which will accommodate 125 people, which is what our old meeting room accommodated, but it will have the added advantage of being able to be broken into sections, 2/3 and 1/3, so we can host 2 meetings at once. If you go into the 1903 building, go back to the center core, go into the 1903 building, on either side you remember those beautiful reading rooms. Those will be restored. There'll be comfortable seating again in there. So that's kind of the first floor. On the back, the first floor on the north side are staff offices for circulation area and our technical services where our books are cataloged and processed. When you come up to the main area, either through a beautiful grand staircase or a handicap accessible elevator, which will be at the very core of the building, right at the center of the building. You come up to this floor, and this is, again, adult services for all of our nonfiction adult books will be here. In the middle section, to my left over here, will be all the public computers. So there'll be, we're tripling the number of public computers available in the library. There'll be further back down, there'll be a learning lab, so we'll be doing technology instruction there. But we'll also have that space really flexible so we can do other kinds of instruction, like our Make It series. Right now we have things going on with yogurt making or soldering classes or bike repair. Those kinds of things could be done in those kind of learning spaces. Reference desk, and then you see right into the 1903 building. And some of you probably remember the old meeting room was upstairs on that top floor. That will be our quiet reading room. So for those people who want that perfect quiet, and I know Mike Hale is one of those who always asks me for that quiet space, there'll be a beautiful kind of traditional reading room that people think of libraries. The local history room is also situated in that 1903 building. And so what's left is the children's room, and they are on the lower level. So patrons would come in at the main level, go on the elevator or the staircase down one floor, and they will find the children's room, which is going to have beautiful, again, south-facing windows. And you remember the grade drop on this property is pretty drastic. So even in the children's room, which is lower level, you have full windows all along the front and the east side.
Now, is there an entrance to the
There's
building?
no entrance down on that level. For security and safety reasons, everyone enters through the first floor. And the predominance of parking will be up here on this right closest to the entrance. So on the lower level, there's specific spaces for different age groups. So there's a preschool area where children will find their board books and picture books, and there'll be comfortable seating for parents and children, and place, educational toys, give access to an outdoor courtyard, which I'll talk about a bit. There'll be a separate story and program room so that we'll be able to run programs throughout the day. Right now, we have to share our program room with community meetings and other adult service meeting and teen meetings now, we get a story hour set up, we can run it repeatedly, and that's a wonderful thing in terms of meeting the demand we have for early literacy programs. In another area of the children's room, you'll have the older children's books as well as study tables and computer area for the kids. The courtyard outside will be really beautiful. A private donor, Bob Dracanian, many of you know for the gifts he's made around town, is enhancing that courtyard. Out there will be seating and comfortable places to spend time out on the south-facing side, kind of out-facing towards Main Street. One of the nice features out there will be the restoration of the doorway or the entablature of the 1923 building. So most people will remember it as the book drop. When you used to return books at the library here on Main Street, if you really looked, you realized that was the old entrance to the children's room to the 1923 building, and that's been restored down there. Mr. Jacanian has also secured services of a mosaic artist who will be doing a mosaic of a story garden on the back wall of the retaining wall of the courtyard, as well as within the areas of that old doorway, so that it will replicate the kind of windows that were in that doorway originally. A nice little stone wall with a field stone wall, and just really inviting space.
Are they working on that now, Alan?
They are, right. The entablature.
You see the plastic?
Yes, they just took down the plastic today, so if it was daylight, we could look down the window and see that beautiful old, with the ward annex on the top of the entablature. It's just beautiful, the work they've done.
I think just the attention to detail, which you can tell from Ellen's description, but also taking the time to sort of incorporate the past and pay homage, if you will, to what came before is, I think, what really makes the new library extra special.
Right.
And it's just going to be awesome.
The restoration of the stained glass window is
and that's a whole
remarkable.
process in itself. That was just a beautiful. We got to see some of it, little video about the restoration, which is an incredible process.
And what's really nice, and we're kind of tying history to today, is many library buildings, when you go in where they're renovating an old building and expanding it, it feels disconnected. They don't make the buildings work well together. Lammer and Pagano have just made this building connect so well, and it feels like it all works together.
Speaking of that, maybe I'll just take a minute. Do you want to talk a little bit about the brick?
Sure.
Because the brick is something that the brick from the 1903 to the new brick is something that has generated a bit of discussion around town, and maybe just talk a little bit about explaining what that was done by design.
That's right. So the architect wanted to find a way to make sure that the 1903 building was the prominent feature on the site. So when you're driving up Main Street or walking past, that 1903 building, as the architect said, sparkles. It has a type of brick that's, if you were to get up close, you would see that it's multicolored, really variegated colors. It's reds and golds and silvers. It's not a solid color brick. What the challenge would be is, do you try to replicate that brick? Do you put the same kind of brick? Now, try to find that brick today would be really almost impossible. The skill of creating that kind of brick doesn't exist in today's world, construction world. And also, the cost of that kind of brick would have just been prohibitive. But the design really wanted to make sure that this larger addition to the back setback kind of faded away. So they chose a single color brick, so there's a monotone look to the brick on this part, and it's a shade darker than the lightest color that's on the 1903 building, and that was intentional. There's also, if you look at the design, there's repetition in pattern, so the windows have the same kind of repetition of pattern, but they're not the same kind of detailed shaped windows, so that the intention was to let that 1903 building really be in the forefront. There's also, in terms of the roof lines, the roof line of the 1903 building is much higher than the addition at all levels. So that was a very intentional effort to make that building shine.
So the goal was complement, not copy, but complement.
And I think it works even now that the building's not done. I mean, the front building already pops. I mean, and the outside is finished. So, you can see the other building is there, but your eye's not. My eye's not drawn to this. It's drawn to the original building, which I think was the architect's intent.
They hoped. Yep.
Do you want to? I'm not sure how much time we have, but
Could I take a minute to do
getting
a plug for
I was
something?
going to say for the
Yeah.
yes, I was
Okay.
going to just toss it to
This
you.
is very
Oh, for
important.
that,
Oh,
two
for that.
things, that and maybe talk about the fundraising for the library. too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
let's
let me do this so I don't forget, because
Yes,
there's a lot at
this is
stake
awesome.
here. So this is a competition that Shrewsbury Library has with the Westboro Public Library.
Okay.
The Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners has teamed up with the Boston Bruins and an organization called Cradles to Crayons to do a drive for pajamas for kids across the Commonwealth in need. And we have a friendly competition going with the Westboro Public Library that whoever collects the most pajamas will be declared the winner, and the losers will have to, in their pajamas, deliver fresh baked cookies to the losers.
Okay.
And my team is determined not to go to Westboro in pajamas. So until March 15th, we are collecting pajamas for boys or girls, and the sizes are 4 to 5 toddler through size 18 or 20, so older children. They can be delivered to our Lake Street Temporary Library at 214 Lake Street. If people want to donate funds instead, $10 provides a set of pajamas for for that need. So.
Awesome. Well, first,
Okay.
I love these monkey jammies.
Oh,
so
yes,
sorry.
that's cute.
But,
So I actually bought these myself, and I
That's
want to
so
point
great.
out this is actually 2 sets. So this is not one, so it
So
counts
it
as
would,
2.
there
in
you
the
go. Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
competition.
That's good. That's good.
So-
And as much as I might want to actually say I would like to see you and your jammies deliver cookies, I'm not. We're going
No.
to support the
I'll
Shrewsbury
bake.
Library. And yeah, we'll be down there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
this is all new clothing, not used clothing.
This is all. Thank you
New.
for
That's a good
clarifying.
point,
This is
yeah.
new pajamas. They need, especially for fire safety laws. You'll notice they all have the little warnings.
Right.
It has to be new materials. And this organization, Cradles to Crayons, provides items, clothing for to keep children safe and warm in cold weather. Provides pajamas. Provides school supplies, backpacks, things like that. All the kind of things
that's
that
nice.
help a child. And they're teaming up with the Boston Bruins, and there are prizes related to the library that collects the most pajamas across the state. A street hockey clinic with the Bruins alum, which could be very fun. Special appearance by the Bruins mascot Blades at our library. Or 200 commemorative Bruins PJ Drive pucks.
Wow. There you go.
So-
There you-
So that's a simpler fundraising, but you
That's
refer
good.
to
That's
our
awesome.
capital
I'm glad
campaign.
you got it in. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then the capital campaign.
Okay,
So
so-
there is a component of funding of the library, about 1.75 million.
That's
Yes,
correct.
that the community is raising.
And we're up
That's right.
around 1.5, 1.6?
We're just under 1.6. Right, so we're doing very well. There is still an opportunity. We have had questions from people about having their name included on the donor wall. There'll be a remarkably beautiful donor wall in the main entrance to the building, and gifts of $5,000 and above are listed on that donor wall. And we will also have a commemorative book, that will be produced, kind of a coffee table type book about the history of the project, history of the library and the town, which will list all donors of $100 and above. But there is still time. At the beginning of May is when we have to close down that the collection of names for the donor wall, because that has to get produced in time for opening.
That's a great point.
That's
They're
right.
making that. So I don't think that's gotten out there in a general
Right.
public way. So yes. So
So May 1st.
So make the contributions now. If you're thinking
Right.
about it, haven't done it.
Right, and
Now's
we
the time
should
to do
tell
it.
people they can still pledge over 3 years. A lot of
Yes, which is
families like to do it that way.
Did you have a rough idea about how many individual contributors there have been?
Yes, we have probably close to 300 contributors, and it's predominantly individuals. There are a number of businesses. There are a number of foundations, nonprofit foundations that have supported our project, but individuals make up a big share.
Now, did all the
of donors.
major naming opportunities, have they been all taken?
There are a few left,
So
but
if you-
for instance, all of the 10,000 naming opportunities have gone. All of the 25. These naming opportunities, I should explain, are to name a room or an area, either in memory of someone or after a family or so forth. We do have some opportunities. I think we have one left in the $25,000 range, and we have some others higher.
And who should they speak to?
They
Who
can
should someone speak to if
either
they're
Laurie
interested?
Hogan, the chair of our board, who's also the coordinator of the capital campaign, or they could reach out to me at the library, and I can put them in touch with the right people.
Awesome. And it's great to see that thermometer growing out
Yes,
there, reaching the top.
there's some more strips that have to go on. We just
Awesome.
haven't gotten over
Oh,
to
yeah.
it.
Awesome. So I think it's time to wrap up. Just about. Any last words of wisdom from my colleagues or?
Well, I was here last in July, I think you and I
Oh,
were
yeah,
here.
yes, because
The-
right,
it wasn't
open,
closed
was-
in yet. It was open air. We had heard then get it closed in by the end of the calendar year, which happened as
Yes.
planned, allowing for all this indoor work to go on. The place looks great. You seem as happy as a kid in a candy store.
Happy.
And we're all looking forward to May and then particularly, I think, for September.
September, yep. The
Very
grand
exciting,
opening.
very exciting 6 months coming up.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity to tell you
Thank
about
you.
the project.
Thank you. All right, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next Selectmen's Roundtable.